So it's been a while since we did one of these, like a little bit of a news update video on some things involving the Pokemon competitive scene. But we've officially got some like pretty huge info regarding the 2024 Pokemon World Championship circuit for Pokemon TCG, VGC, Unite, and Pokemon Go players. Notably, this video is going to be focusing on VGC, but TCG does have a lot of similar changes. I do believe Pokemon Go is also going to be on a championship point structure like VGC and TCG are. If you do care about that, I haven't really read it Unite yet. But I'll have the link in the description if you do want to look at it for Unite, or you want to look at like any of the individual stuff I'm talking about here. It will just be in the description. But yeah, first of all, the most notable thing here, let's click on this real quick, the little move. We get kind of the similar style circuit as we always had. Of course, championship points, get championship points, get your invite. But now there's like some interesting stipulations, right? And that's if you actually just win a regional championship, then you get first place. Or if you're in Europe, there's a special event, which they are notably saying that special events in Europe will get auto invite. So special events in other regions probably don't, which is an interesting stipulation to put in place, which will probably have some impact for the Latin America region and like potential invaders. Cause like if you're from the US and you try to invade LATAM, you're not going to have that benefit of this winning their special event and getting a Worlds invite based on what they're saying here, but you could technically invade a regional championship and get an invite. So that's pretty interesting. It could also mean that they are not getting they are not allowing special events to happen in LATAM, and that there's going to be regional championships, which, I don't know, really. That'll be something interesting to look at for that scene in the future. And there is international championships as well. Will be getting the auto invite for first and second place, which I think is fundamentally very good too. First place at an international always really had a auto invite. I do think one thing I want to say about these is I think like optimally, I would prefer them to go like regional first and second, and then special event first and second, and then internationals top 4. Or that would be like what I would think would be the better kind of solution. And there also is a very important stipulation on this. Guaranteed invites do not pass down. And what I believe this to mean is if someone already has their invite and they win a regional championship, right? Or they get their invite later, detached from that regional championship, the second place person will not get an auto invite off of this. And that's my general understanding of how that works. Since guaranteed invites do not pass down, if for whatever reason the regional champion gets their invite elsewhere, or they just hit the CP total, you in second place will not get the invite as a result of that. Which I think it makes sense, because there's a lot of ways people can get invites now. And if you have to go back into the circuit, like let's say all of top 8 of a regional, all of them get their invites, and then you have to like retroactively give the 9th place person an invite. I can see where that causes problems. I would of course prefer it to be like that, since well, more invites is good to me, you know? I like more invites, that sounds great. But ultimately they avoid doing that, which makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense to me. And yeah, then on the Pokemon World Championship specifically, we actually do have some adjusted championship qualifications. You can see here for TCG. I'm not going to get in too far into that. But what we're all here for, VGC will be requiring a lot more championship points, which of course the season will be a bit longer now, and we still have like the online IC events, like global challenges, so it could not be as punishing as it might be. But 500 CP for Masters in the US and 400 for Europe. Like, ultimately, it's not too bad, ultimately, for VGC. But it is a notable difference from, I believe we were at 300 this past season. But I think with what I hope, a regional CP adjustment. I think winning 2 regionals and not getting a... Well, I guess in this case, since you auto get an invite for winning a regional, getting second at 2 regionals, I think should equivalent in Worlds invite too. Or I think like getting top 4 at like 3 regionals should all actually wait. It's still 160. Like we were on 160 before, so I believe. Let me check. Yeah, 160. So you need 3 regional second place finishes to get a Worlds invite, which is a little bad. So I do hope regional CP gets adjusted. Of course, they do have this little stipulation here, but since this is a new amount here, I don't think championship point qualification will change unless something goes like horribly wrong later in the season. I do think 500 will be the highest number that it will be. But for regionals, we still have the same regional CP structure, though the kickers do appear to be a bit more lenient. And we do have like a best fitness limit as well with 6. So you have to go to like 6 regionals, which is a little sus too for the travel award race, but is still pretty important. And importantly, internationals have no limits, so that's really the big event. But yeah, you still get the same amount of CP for getting first at a regional, even though now you get an auto invite. You get the same amount of CP for second. So that's going to create a major gap between winning and getting second at an event, because you can just get your world's invite right away off of the first regional win, or you could just simply be 160. Now you have to match this performance a few more times in order to get your world's invite. And I think that's a bit of a problem that I'm hoping they will kind of fix a little bit by this like raising the points at the top. I don't think the points at the bottom need to be raised much, because I think like there should be a substantial difference from like first place and like someone who just makes day 2 at like top 32. So I do think that should be something that like stays a little true. And hopefully it will be, but we'll see. This is subject to change on like championship point award amounts, but I would have the assumption that they're just going to keep it like this and maybe make it a bit harder for people to get world's invites overall, right? But yeah, there's 3 tiers of invites now, which is tier 1 world's invite, which is, let me see, where do you get it? Oh yeah. For US 1 through 12, get a tier 1 world's invite where you get world's invitation, travel award, and you get a round 1 buy. Notably, this means there doesn't seem to be a day 2 worlds anymore. So it's now a grind fest of everyone in the same tournament, but you get more money for the travel award. So it's still something worth working towards, the travel award and travel stipend, but it's not like as high value as it was before, which I ultimately think is a good thing, as I think the day 2 race was very fundamentally unhealthy. And now that the day 2 race is kind of gone, and there's a slightly weakened form of that, or it still matters quite substantially, right? You get a round 1 buy, that's pretty good. Though I think if I would change this, I would say I think tier 1 invites should have like 2 round buys. And then tier 2 invite should have only 1 round buy. I think that would be like a decent way to structure it, as well as if you want to like up the reward, right? Because the difference between getting a tier 2 invite and a tier 1 invite is pretty substantial, to the point that I think we're still going to have like a filthy day 2 race. Though ultimately them just adding more spots to that tier 1 race, the 1 through 12 instead of like 1 through 8, which is what it was for day 2 this year, is fundamentally really good. And I do think this probably means that we're going to see a lot of players. It's like, if they do win a regional early, they might not even pursue like this hard going to every event now after winning that 1 regional, which ultimately I think is like a overall net positive from like this, the how much a player has to grind. So I'm pretty okay with that, to be real. But yeah, we see the travel award amounts pre-tax, 3,500 out of region, 5,000 if you are underage, and in region like 2,000, 2,500, so it's still pretty decent. Of course, we don't know what the travel stipends amount is, probably like a fair bit less, I would imagine. But, oh, 1,000, they say it right there, okay. Which that could be a bit problematic for like, there's no out of region stipulation there, so if Worlds is in like Japan again, right? That travel stipend won't pay you enough to get to Japan. It'll get you like halfway there though, which is pretty okay. But yeah, overall, pretty good changes in that. And we also do have another set of announcements, as we already talked about the regional CP. 6 best finish limit for regionals, which is pretty good. Global challenges are still a thing. I do believe global challenges were nerfed a bit. Could be wrong on that. But 160 does seem a bit weaker, but it still has a 3 best finish limit. So these are like very big events that you stay at home and you can get so much value from, which I think are really just fundamentally great for the circuit. Though I wish they did it like Player Cup, where there would be like a whole other stage to it, even though it's like logistically harder to handle. But unfortunately that's not the case. But yeah, internationals, yet again, still this broken. Realistically, if you can afford to go to EUIC, or go to Europe over like going to like 2 American regionals, right? You always want to choose the going to EUIC, because the reward to going to an international is like 2.5 times as good as going to a regional. As you can see here, 500 CP for winning versus 200 CP. Or with top 128, you get about 2.5 times CP as well. So internationals are still like the most broken event, and realistically, if you do want to be competitive in the circuit, you want to go to as many international championships as possible. Which personally I find a little scary still, but I do get it, as internationals are the highest level of event outside of the World Championship. And yeah, with that, that's enough talking about like the CP standards. We can talk about some of the regional. We had some of these announced before, with like Pittsburgh, Peoria, Sacramento. A lot of those were already known to us, but we get like Toronto, San Antonio, Portland, Charlotte, Knoxville's back again, Vancouver, Orlando. We get Orlando again. We also get Indianapolis instead of Fort Wayne this year, which is good for me because I'm from Indy. Let's go. So I got a guaranteed regional there at least. And we have LA as well. And out of these, I'll say I'll go to Indianapolis for sure this time. I won't have like medical issues of any kind to prevent me like 2022 again. And I'll go no matter what. So we'll look for that one for sure. And then I might try to go to Knoxville. Maybe. It's like reasonable enough. I'm still considering Pittsburgh, but it's a bit more of a commitment for me. And then Peoria, I'll probably go to Peoria. Illinois is just a little off Chicago. It's mid-lane from like St. Louis. It's doable enough for me that it's something that I might pursue going to. The rest of them I probably won't go to, I'll be honest. And then we get like Europe events. Of course, I'm not going to go to any Europe regionals, I don't think, unless we get some like insane scenarios. But yeah, we get one in France. We get one in Poland, Groznyk. We get Stuttgart, Germany again, Liverpool, and Dortmund, Germany. While Germany getting more regionals is kind of crazy. And then we also have Brazil getting their first regional there too. It's September 23rd. I think we already knew that. Yeah, once again, regional CP not adjusted and a best finish limit of 6. And prizes for regionals not announced yet as well. And we also don't know what Oceania's getting. But yeah, let's look at Europe special events. We have 2 already, and one in Barcelona and one in Utrecht in the Netherlands. And I don't believe we have any other special events announced. Yeah, we don't have any for LATAM yet. But it'll be interesting to see if like they change the ruling on special events. Because right now in the thing it says only European special events get a guaranteed Worlds invite. So if we do get a LATAM special event, or a Russia special event, or a South Africa special event, then hopefully they will be able to get Worlds invites off that too. But ultimately we'll have to see there. And yeah, that's the overall kind of what happened with the circuit. Let me know what your thoughts are. I do think this is a good step in the right direction, though I think like a few fundamental changes would help it. I.e. like this raising the regional CP total rewards. Like 200 doesn't seem like enough of a reward for winning. And I think like there's a few adjustments they could make. Like regionals, I think winner and second place should get it. And like internationals, I think the top 4 should get an invite for Worlds from an international. At least that's in my opinion. But yeah, that's it for this video. Goodbye.